Hello everyone, Richardini here. I needed an haircut, and in today's video I'm gonna start covering the Open Figure de Força FIDE, which was played last year in November. And this is definitely my favorite tournament of the Portuguese calendar, and it's a tournament that I always try to play. So yeah, I had a big break between tournaments. So the last tournament that I played in the journey was in April of 2024, and then I jumped some like 7 months after, and I played this tournament in November. I was working my first job as an internship, professional internship, and yeah, I didn't really have time to look at chess or study chess, but I was very happy to be back on the boards after a long break. So yeah, here on the first round I got paired up against Samuel Gonçalves. The pairings were posted like 2 minutes before the round, so I had no time to prepare, but I had a plan for the first round. Samuel Gonçalves actually ended up getting the FIDE Master title, which is amazing. Congratulations to him. And I played him for the fourth time, so it still holds up the record for the most played opponent ever. And let's see if I can finally break through and get a win against him. So I started with c4. Funny story, in the year before this one I actually also got paired up against a very strong opponent on the first round. I got paired up against a Polish player rated 2267 WIMs, and I actually ended up drawing with c4. So I was in the same mindset, let's see if I can get a really good result in the first round of this strong tournament. So I opened with c4. Samuel went for g6, g3, bishop g7, bishop g2, c5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, d6, castles, e6. I'm gonna pause here. So this is the symmetrical English, and it is a theoretical position. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know how to proceed. I didn't know by heart this very specific variation, but I kind of know my plans on the symmetrical English, and I try to apply them to most of black setups. So in this case I played e3. I want to play d4 and contest the center. My opponent logically plays knight g on e7. Here I go d4, castles, and now I add the first big thing of the game. And I didn't remember my prep here in this line, so I decided to play a logical move, which ends up being a good move, rook b1. And the idea of this move is very simple. I want to get out of this diagonal, and I want to eventually either push a3 b4, or I just play a more calm b3 bishop e2, and this rook is better placed on b1 than on a1. So yeah, very calm move, not touching the center and not committing to anything specific, just finishing my development. My opponent does the same. He just plays b6, very logical move, wants to develop the bishop, and I play b3 here. And my opponent here surprised me with this move, bishop a6, and during the game I didn't really understand bishop a6, you know. I had a big thing here because, yeah, this move just feels weird to me. This pawn is well defended here, and okay, I understand the x-ray on the rook, but after what I played rook e1, I didn't really understand what the bishop was doing on a6, honestly. I felt like a weird move, honestly. And okay, I ended up playing rook e1, makes a lot of sense, and my opponent plays rook ac8, so I guess he's also just developing his pieces. Bishop b2, very logical, and now he plays rook e8, rook f8, and now this is actually the first critical moment of the game. I had a decision to make, and I was calculating two moves. The move d takes on c5, which is the ideal move and the one that I actually wanted to play during the game, and I was also calculating d5. But it was more like, in this position I saw, okay, I want to play d takes on c5, and I'm gonna calculate to see if it works like I want to, and if it doesn't work, I'll play d5, because I know that how the position will turn out after d5, and I know that I'll be fine. but ideally I want to play d takes on c5. So I calculated d takes on c5. Firstly, I saw that if he takes with the d pawn, I just play queen e2. And my idea is simple. I just want to put the rooks on the d file, double on the d file, and okay, I got out of the opening fine, and my position is probably slightly better because these rooks feel misplaced on c8 and on e8, and this bishop will have to move again, so yeah, I'm fine here. What I calculated wrong was this position, which I was just seeing the natural knight e4 attacking the d6 pawn, and for some reason I just visualized the position completely wrong. I don't know what went through my head, and this is something that happens often, and I need to really work on and do a lot of calculation exercises, because this is like, it's really bad. I was worried about d5 here, which makes no sense. Here I can just take the pawn, the bishop is hanging, but for some reason in my head this bishop was defended in my head, and I was afraid of complications like this, which just don't work for multiple reasons, you know. Probably I was afraid of some discovered jumps with the knight, and yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It was bad visualizing by myself. I visualized the position completely incorrectly, and I ended up not making a good move playing d5, which is also fine. He took on d5, I took with the knight, played queen takes on d5, and now he played what I expected, which is knight e7. Makes a lot of sense to attack the queen immediately. And here I had another very important moment in the game, which is where do I put my queen? And realistically, there's two squares that feel natural and make sense, which is queen d2, which I feel like is the strongest, and queen d1, which I feel like is less optimal. It's not that good, actually. But during the game I couldn't see the difference. I was starting to stress out because, you know, I felt like this was an important decision, but I couldn't see the difference, and I was almost like gambling. Do I play queen d1? Do I play queen d2? I ended up playing queen d1, which I end up regretting, and we will see why I regretted this decision. Here my opponent plays d5, which makes a lot of sense. He wants to get rid of this backward pawn, and he also wants to just open the position for his pieces and get some activity. Here I ended up playing bishop takes on g7, king takes on g7, and here I played the very bad move c takes on d5. And this is bad for a simple reason. I'm just activating his pieces, and all of a sudden his knight is very strong. This bishop actually makes sense on this diagonal now that I opened up things, and my queen is misplaced because he's already like threatening some knight c3, so I actually need to move my queen again, and I ended up moving it to d2, which is funny because I just lost tempo. I just lost the move, moving it to d2 when I could have moved to d2 immediately. But let's see some details first. Let's see why queen d2 would have been better. I think it makes a lot of sense here. If my opponent goes for the same variation of playing d5, I can chop on g7, takes back with the king, and now I have this check queen b2, which makes my opponent have to waste a tempo here. Let's say he plays king g8, and now I play rook bd1, and now this pin is very hard to deal with for black. Because of this, my opponent would probably have to take on b2 first, but after queen takes on b2, here the move d5 still, it's not good because I have rook bd1 and or rook d1, what, doesn't matter which rook. But yeah, this pin is very dangerous. So yeah, actually I would have a quite a fantastic position here after something like this. My opponent would have to probably move the bishop back to b7, try to play this, but I always have a rook to d1, and it's always very uncomfortable for my opponent to push d5. He would have to move the queen away first, and now yeah, I guess I haven't thought about this position too much, but even maybe something like e4 to stop d5 seems completely fine to me. But yeah, I would have a decent position. But yeah, during the game I didn't consider this at all, and I got punished. But here there's a funny thing, actually. This position is way more complex than it actually looks like. After d5, I have the brilliant resource after bishop takes on g7, king takes on g7. I actually have a brilliant move here, which of course it didn't even cross my mind. I have this beautiful move, rook b2, with the idea that after d takes on c4, I have rook d2, and apparently, like, I'm completely winning after like this variation. And yeah, it's just like incredible. Like, black is completely paralyzed. I have a pawn less, but like my rook is a monster. Like, this bishop is gonna open up and cause a lot of trouble to my opponents, and the position is so bad for black that the computer is already recommending this queen sacrifice for just a rook. So that's how bad the position is. But yeah, I don't think I would ever like calculated this from back before playing d5. This is just a brilliant idea of playing rook b2, sacrificing the c4 pawn to activate my rook. Just incredible, honestly. But even here I could play queen d2, which is wasting a tempo. But the idea here is that even when my opponent takes on c4, I can play queen b2 check, and we get a little bit of the same variation with rook d1 here, attacking the queen, gaining a tempo. And d5 here I played queen d2, my opponent played knight b4, and it's already very uncomfortable for me because his pieces are jumping into the game very fast. And yeah, just look at the difference between the minor pieces and you have it. Who's better in this position? I played queen c3 check after queen f6 by my opponent. We traded queens, and here I played a4. My a2 pawn is attacked, so I decided to just move it. After bishop d3 by my opponent, rook b2. My pieces are already very awkward and they are not coordinating properly. His knight is just a monster on this outpost on b4. This bishop all of a sudden makes sense. His idea of playing bishop a6 just worked perfectly with the way I played. So yeah, he just moves a rook to the d file, makes a lot of sense. I play rook a1. I didn't even know what to do. Like, I felt like so paralyzed that yeah, I just felt like I didn't have a move, which is crazy. But it's really hard to suggest something productive for white here. I played rook a1, just trying to move to free up this e1 square for my knight to kick this bishop. My opponent played rook d6. He wants to double on the d file, makes a lot of sense. Knight e1, bishop f5, e4, bishop e6, f4, trying to gain some space, trying to get some counterplay here. He plays king e7. I was threatening e5 check, and now I play e5 again. The rook moves again to d4. I play a5 here, and yeah, my opponent doesn't take. He plays b5, which makes a lot of sense, not letting me activate my rook. I play bishop f1 here. I'm just trying to attack his pawns and trying to create something, you know. a6 here by my opponent, knight f3, attacking the rook, rook d7, and now knight g5. And yeah, trying to create something. I'm not really sure what, but I'm attacking this pawn on h7, so that's something. He plays bishop f5, lets me take the pawn. I guess I just take the pawn. I don't see anything better to do. So I just take the pawn, and now my opponent doubles on the d file. And even though my opponent is down a pawn, is completely dominating the position, completely dominating the d file. This knight is a monster. This bishop is also very, very good. So all I have is an extra pawn, basically. There's nothing better in my position. Here I played knight g5. The computer says that this is a mistake. It says that after knight f6 I'm doing good, but it's really, really hard to believe that I'm doing good here. But apparently the computer says I'm fine. Crazy. I played knight g5. My opponent played rook d1. I traded, and here I played king g2, trying to get rid of this pin. So king g2. My opponent plays rook a1, going after the a5 pawn, and I don't have a way to defend that pawn, so I need to create some counterplay. Here I played h3, which it's too slow. The computer wants h4, but even h4 for me it's hard to understand what I'm actually threatening with h4. Maybe rook e2, maybe bishop e2, g4, h5 in the future, something like that, trying to use this passed pawn as counterplay. This is too slow. Rook takes on a5. King f3 is a blunder as well. My opponent quickly finds this move, which just pins this pawn. I mean, he's already threatening c4, and I have to move my king again. And this is objectively when I lost the game after this king f3 move. It's just not good at all. I should have played g4 here, trying to harass his pieces, but even g4 is already a bit too late. But yeah, the game proceeded like this, just complete domination. I mean, just look at these pieces and look at my pieces. And yeah, after knight f3, he played bishop takes on b3, and now he has 3 passed pawns on the queen side. And I resigned. We reached the move 40, where we get an extra 30 minutes, and yeah, there's nothing to do here. I resigned, and this is how I lost my first game here at Figueira da Foz Open. So yeah, I mean, it was actually a very interesting game. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for round 2. Bye bye.